Sri Lankan ceramic industry boasts a history dating back for several centuries. Sri Lankan ceramic products are unique, distinctive, and elegant compared to other Asian competitors. It illustrates influence of ancient craftsmanship. It makes Sri Lanka a world leader in traditional ceramic products. So, today our discussion is on the ceramic industry in Sri Lanka. I cordially welcome to our discussion Mr. Aravinda Perera, Managing Director, Royal Ceramic Lanka PLC, as well Mr. Kumudu Keerthirathna, Deputy General Manager, Royal Ceramic Lanka PLC. Welcome you all, sir. Sir, let's move on to the history and current situation of ceramic products manufacturing in Sri Lanka.
Let me first thank Honorable Minister of Industries, Secretary, also the Chairman of Industrial Development Board for inviting us today, and all of you staff. Thank you very much. Ceramic industry basically is all about adding value to the materials that we have in the country. Say, Sri Lanka is blessed with having most of the important and necessary ingredients for a good and healthy ceramic industry. If you talk about the materials per se, we have quartz, silica sand, ball clay, kaolin, calcite, dolomite, feldspar, almost everything. So, in the past, the ancient times, there would have been certain value additions, but I think the real industry was developed outside Sri Lanka. So at the very beginning, the industry that we are into tiles and bathware, sanitaryware. Industry, especially in areas like Italy, Spain, United Kingdom, developed faster, and we started learning from them. So initially, obviously, the finished goods came from there. Having realized the potential of having our own raw materials, we would have started production in small ways. And it developed to a situation at the moment we are and we have been not only producing to the local market, but we have been exporting overseas as well. So it's all about having the materials and adding value. So Kumudu will talk about our company and the history. Kumudu?
Royal Ceramics actually started in 1991. We started with a very small single line, production line, with a capacity of 1,500 square meters per day. We manufactured actually, we are pioneering of manufacturing porcelain products in Sri Lankan market. We started the first factory at Paheliyagoda. And thereafter in 1994 we go for expansion works. Again we acquire one other company from that is called Royal Porcelain. Those days it is called Kasan Kammerbatch. And now, as of now, we are operating five main factories, ceramic factories, mainly 4 tile manufacturing factories and one other sanitaryware factory.
I think we want to talk about the spectrum of ceramic industries that we have, not just what we produce. So, tableware, porcelain, bone china, fine china, which is basically the item that we used at our kitchen plus the dining table. Then we have the floor tiles, porcelain floor tiles and ceramic tiles, wall tiles, bathware, then glass bottles, containers, similar raw materials are used, earthenware, ornamental ware, then of course we have red clay items, roofing, terracotta. In addition to that, there is certain amount of value addition to local materials, and they are also being exported. Around the ceramic industry, we have another industry that has developed is basically the mining industry. When we want clay, we don't go and do the mining of clay. We have people who are more experts in that area of work. They do the mining, they do the cleaning, and they give it to us. In similar way, there is a transport industry also developed along with us, meaning that they bring the materials to us, and then once we produce, they take it back to our warehouses, they take it back to our showrooms for sale. So that is how the ceramic industry has developed. From first factory, we went and bought another factory, which is now in fact bigger than the original factory. 10 years ago, we realized that we were only producing tiles. Almost all bathware were being imported. We decided that we do have expertise to go for that, and we started producing that. In fact, roughly about 20 to 25% of our bathware production is exported right now.
I think you gave some examples for the ceramic products manufacturing in Sri Lanka. I think whole in the industry, is it covering, sir, all the products?
Meaning?
That means in our ceramic industry, those are the products we are manufacturing, or less amount of that means some of them.
There are some products which are more futuristic that we are not producing at the moment. You want me to add to that? Okay, basically these are future ceramics for us.
Yeah.
You go to the dental surgeon, they use porcelain. You dental filling materials, okay, spark plugs, materials, and then you have seen when you go on the road, you see the electrical pylons, and then you have these ceramic insulators, they are used. So artificial bones, biomedical applications.
Those are innovative products.
They are
Now, currently,
they are very, you need a lot of expertise for these, and we don't have it right now. In fact, some time ago when we had excess production capacity in our bathware factory, I looked at, we were trying to see whether we can produce the insulators, electrical insulators here, but the temperatures that are necessary were not available in our kilns. So I have to give up. But if somebody really wants to do it, we import a huge amount of insulators for the CEB. So these are various other stuff that we can do here. Other than that, I told you ceramic industry is all about adding value to certain material that we have. There are some material which are not, we are not adding value, or we are adding value only to a small extent. Things like graphite, ilmenite, zircon, garnet sand, mica, lot that can be done in these areas. I'm not expert to talk about those, but I think industrialists should be able to do this. If not for the Sri Lankan market, definitely for the overseas market.
I think graphite is a main chemical that fast growing industrial sector for that nanotechnology and all those things. So, sir, what do you think about the market in this industry, in nationally and internationally?
See, first I'll talk about the industry that I am in. Okay, so I have to talk about before COVID and after COVID, right? Before COVID, I'll tell you the reason also in a little while. Before COVID, I think roughly about 20 million square meters were sold in Sri Lanka. 28 million square meter, that was in 2018. However, present demand has dropped to 16 million from 28 to 16. All three tile manufacturers, us and the two competitors, we have expanded. Now we have 30 million square meter production capacity. So we have more than the highest demand that Sri Lanka had. In the same way, if you take the sanitary ware, highest domestic consumption was in 2021, which was 1.2 million pieces, both imported and local. present capacity of, there are about 8 manufacturers in Sri Lanka, it's about 1.2 million pieces. However, the present demand, unfortunately, is only 600,000. So because of that reason, I must say that I am carrying about 1.5 years stock in our warehouses. So the construction industry obviously had a big come down, and we hope that industry will survive and do well in the future. We used to get a lot of business from the government of Sri Lanka, but government is doing only the bare minimum on construction. So that business is not there anymore. And if we talk about the large corporates putting up buildings, slowed down because of the interest rates. The worst hit are our domestic market, household market, people who are putting up houses and renovating houses. Because interest rates have gone up to so high levels, people are not taking housing loans. So these are factors that are affecting us now. So I can easily say that present requirement of tiles and bathware we are producing in the country. Market is something that changes now and then. Probably a day will come that we will need more than 28 million square meters of tiles. Then of course we don't have the capacity, but definitely that is where we are. Export market, if you talk about tiles and bathware we are exporting already 25%, but we have two competing countries which have a lot of excess capacity, China and India. Their production capacities are so high, and there's absolutely very difficult to compete with them. But still we do exports. So talking about ornamental ceramics, we are doing okay, but all these markets also have been affected by the economic crisis faced by the world. So things like tableware, I believe their market shares are holding up, but I don't think there is a growth because even Europe, US, all these people are having issues. So I can say that we have the capability and capacity to produce. The market should improve. But having said that, we are on export drive. We are doing everything that is possible to find export markets. And I can say there's 1 year where the dollars were very difficult to find. We found all dollars required to import our materials and spare parts for our bathware factory to bathware exports. So it's something new to us, but we are into that.
Then, what is the reason for higher demand for Sri Lankan ceramic based products in globe?
Kumudu?
Yeah, actually, because of the craftsmanship of Sri Lankan people, I believe our ancient tableware especially, there's a huge demand for Lanka wall tile. Thereafter, Lanka wall tile started, and for the Lanka wall tiles also, there's a huge demand at that time. So, however, with the cost of manufacturing, it's depend. However, the quality of the product and the price is actually the main factors. All the entire market is actually dominated by the Chinese market and the Indian market. So Indian manufacturers. So actually, our demand is declining due to these reasons, even though there are the high quality products manufactured in Sri Lanka.
Let me add to that, designs play a huge role here. When it comes to sanitary we get the experts from Italy, famous names. They do some of our work, design work. And almost all our tile designs come from Spain. They are the specialists. We don't try to reinvent the wheel. They are experts. We know that they are experts. So they come and we look at what they have and we decide this is what we want to do. And they give us the materials, especially the inks, digital inks, plus the other materials required. They give us the computer programs needed to run our machinery. So what we are producing now, and we have been producing up to date, all European designs. So comparatively, our designs are considered to be of higher quality and standard as compared to Indian or Chinese. This is not easy to maintain because obviously I was in China very recently and I've seen that China also has come up with new designs which can rival the Europe. So it's a changing game. But we can say our designs also play a significant role.
That means there are traditional designs as well as tailor-made.
We don't have the traditional designs now. We have actually we are actually working with the most recent studios with the design studios within Italy, mainly Europe. So they undertake all our projects, the design projects, and we actually follow all the new models developed in the Europe.
If I go to buy something, a tile, then I'll go for a traditional design. But if my son wants to buy a tile, he'll go something completely different. I think the same thing is applicable to ornamental wear, where designs play a major role. And I believe our manufacturers visit various countries, various fairs and exhibitions to go and see what is the best thing that is already available and doing that.
Then can you explain about the local customer demand and local manufacturing quantity?
I think I've already touched upon that. I said 28 million is the maximum. We can produce now altogether, 3 factories can produce about 30 million, but the demand is much lower. When the import restrictions started, at that moment we had about a year's stock with us, and it went like hotcake. And thereafter there was a lot of people waiting to buy tiles. As of now, there's no waiting time, very short waiting time. But I can see the way things are happening with the construction industry still trying to recover. In 6 months' time, we will have enough and more stocks. Same thing what happened to our sanitary ware, where we have 1 year, 8 months. Some of the smaller sanitary ware manufacturers are having problems. They are running half their capacity. I must stress the point that I have been running our bathware factory at 50% capacity for the last 3-4 months. So we are not happy about that. But unfortunately, there are a lot of imported things in the country. So we have to compete with them.
Then sir, what is the potential to develop this industry in Sri Lanka?
There are certain restrictions on that. Number one cost to us is the energy. Gas for our kilns and electricity, gas mainly. And gas is imported. Sorry? Human resources cost is not so high.
Actually, as example,
Automated.
Yeah, as example, our production cost of our production, when you consider the gas, energy cost is around 45%. So it is actually the big issue now. So however, actually the manpower and other expenses are not much actually.
So Sri Lanka doesn't have LPG, gas or fuel. We have to import. Dollar went up, and we are facing the brunt of that situation. Because there are some countries who have gas resources. Say if you take Bangladesh, maybe 10 years ago they didn't have an industry. Now they have, because there is gas available. So China has a certain amount, but India also has a certain amount of gas. And in our country, we don't have any subsidy whatsoever for our materials.
Only raw materials are existing.
Yeah, but raw material is also an issue. If I can take it up at this point of time, if we are to mine, I think we have to go to about 30 places to get approvals.
Yeah, actually now the main problem, one of the main problem is getting the raw material. Getting raw material. Actually earlier in Sri Lanka there was the mining map. There's a mineral map. It is called mineral map. It's done by the Department of Minerals and Survey. Now there is no such map in Sri Lanka. So the people are their own decisions. They have taken their own decisions, and they explore the mines, they explore the deposits of the material. So they actually other thing, these areas, the mining areas are not allocated by the government. They are scattered everywhere. So there are interested parties in the society, community, and they are also putting troubles into this mining. And even the government also putting all the controls to this. So it is very difficult part to mining in Sri Lanka now. So the limited, there are limit, actually the raw materials are very limited now. But there are enough raw material. I think if the government can use some support to do a proper survey like earlier, to explore the deposits, then we can do something for the development of the industry.
Add something to what Kumudu said. 3 years ago, we were told that the government is going to find places where we can do mining, get all the approvals and give it to us. Now, if that happens, it will be so much easy for us. And number 2 is that there is 40 purchase rule. No one knows from where this rule came, but we have to mine 40 purchase, fill it and go to the next one. 40 purchase land, how deep you can go, you can't go very deep because it's only 40 purchase. If it's 1 acre of land, we can go much deeper and then take the materials out. So there are times that we take something out, there is material underneath, but we can't go because it's 40 purchase, we close it and go. So these are few things that procedures, regulations, guidelines can facilitate us. Yeah.
Okay, so next we'll move on to the legal background affected to this industry, and what are the national and international standards to be considered here. First we will discuss about the legal background. Next we'll move on to the standards.
We started the manufacturing plant in Sri Lanka. Actually, as usual, we have to get the local authorities, all the approvals from the local authorities, and thereafter again all the regulations according to the regulations done by the CEA, Central Environment Authority approvals they have taken, and as well we have to take the GSME certification. And this is the mining and the ceramic industry is actually the very integrated industries. So the GSME certification is also very important. Those are actually the other things. Actually, SLS and ISO is not needed. But if it is there, the ISO 9000 or the SLS, it is better to go for an export market.
What about the standards of this industry which should be achieved?
In our case, in Royal Ceramics, actually we produce the standards. Actually, for the tile, we produce tiles to EN standards. That's called the European standards, ISO 13000, and the EN standards. That is the main. There are many standards in the world: American standards, EN standards, and but we produce our products into compatible to EN standards and ISO 13000.
Sri Lanka standards is now compiling something for bathware. We have been helping them. It has been missing. Anybody importing bathware to Sri Lanka, there is no standard to meet. So that is happening now. Then other things, there are international standards like watermark. See, we are selling in Australia, we are selling in India, Mexico, Hungary, China. The two largest manufacturers of this, two largest manufacturers of tiles are China and India. Largest exporters of centralware, number 1 is China and I'm selling there. Number 2 is Mexico, I'm selling there. So, although there are problems, there are certain niche markets that we can work on. Standards are required, but it will not stop our buyers coming and checking us out. They have to come, they normally come, they do an audit, they come and check 3-4 times. Each sample they want to take it out at various levels. Finally, when they approve, only that we can export. So we have all the standards. That is the basic thing when we approach somebody and say, look, we have the watermark. We have what is required for your country. But then they come over here to physically check it out.
Then, what are the supportive institutions in Sri Lanka to regarding this industry, and how can we coordinate with them?
Yeah, the Minister of Industry, Minister of Energy, Minister of Environment, including GSMB, CEA, SLSI, Minister of Finance, Customs. We have a lot. That's the overall picture. Locally, we talk with CEB.
Local authorities, the local authorities, the Pradesh Sabha and all other, yes, CEB and all other government organizations are.
So we get support. We get support, but I think overall plan to help the industry should come from somewhere. And they will say, oh look, hereafter the mining, there's only one stop shop. You come to say IDB, and then IDB will arrange all these people. Now everybody will have to go and see whether there is a certain species of endangered flora or whatever. I mean, all this has to be done, but problem right now is that we have to go after each and every of these. So it should be a coordinated effort in the first place. And even transport of materials is a daily issue. So that is why my company is not involved in that, getting somebody else to do it. But we have to pay money for that additional service.
So, what are the strategies to popular these products among locally and internationally? What are the strategies we can use?
Locally, what we are doing is we are coming out with designs, new designs every day. For a year, probably 200, 300 from your factory?
Yes, around 200, 300. Yes.
So every year we take out 200 old designs and put 200 new designs. And the other factory probably is more.
Yes.
And bathware not so much, but also there, also we come up with. So for this we visit certain exhibitions held in China, Italy, Spain, Frankfurt. We go and see what's happening in the world, and we bring the designs back. Number one is that designs and how it looks. Number two is that when it comes to tiles, I think people are going more and more for larger tiles. So we have to go in that direction and change. See, we are also doing things to change the consumer perspective of what they want to buy. So for that also what we do is we try to come up with certain designs which first time in Sri Lanka, so that people will continue to come there. So exports, of course, we need to know what's happening overseas, what they buy, from whom they are buying, what designs, and if they have their own designs, we'll go with their designs. Otherwise, we come up with designs necessary for them.
As well, the most important thing is the trust. Customers' trust is the most important thing to an industry to get sustainable in the industry. Trustworthy.
I agree with you. So say, if you buy bathware from us, we say, if anything happens in the next 25 years, your item will be replaced.
That is follow up the branded names.
Yes.
So next, my question is explain basically about the investment structure in this industry. How should be the investment structure, that means for a newcomer?
Investment structure, actually when we go for investment, new investment, basically we have to see whether there are the technical competence in the industry, and thereafter you have to see the technical feasibility and the financial feasibility as well. We can both, we have to consider. And other thing, we have to very deeply, we have to study the market possibilities, opportunities and potential. That is the main factors and the main criteria to be considered for the investment, new investment.
Sir, if somebody willing to invest in Sri Lanka in this industry, what can we give some kind of a message to them?
Yes, look at the market very carefully. Do not depend only on the local market. Start with some percentage that he can export so that you don't depend on what's happening in the country. These are the things. If you take a ballpark value, I think a tile factory will cost about 10 billion rupees. We expanded our Horana factory without the land, without the building, without generator, without the transformer, without warehouses, without anything, only the machinery cost us 5 billion. So that's the kind of thing that we are talking about. Bhatia, I have not done a calculation, but I would think that it may be worth 3 billion or more. So this is the kind of investment we are talking about. So that is why we are a PLC, and because the investments are huge in size. So when you have such a huge investment, so we have to run it very profitably to make it worthwhile for people to come and invest in our shares.
So next, that when we are considering about the imported ceramic items, those are very low in price. Can we produce our local ceramic products into cater that price, and as well can we substitute the imported products with our own ones?
There are a couple of things here. Number one is what we are producing, what are being imported, perhaps are not the same. We believe in quality. I'm not saying that imported items are not of good quality always. There are good quality ones as well. But see, we compete with those prices and we have been successful in the past. So we believe that we have made a name for ourselves for our quality. And so people come to us. Number one, imported, you said they are cheap. That is also necessary because there is a market in this country, not very high income earners, but who want to have tiles in their house, replace cement with tile. There has to be alternative. So that is where the imported tiles at times go. There is another market at the top end. Say if you take the top hotels in this country, which are run by large chains, multinational chains, these are designed by international engineers, architects and consultants who almost always want to buy from a trade name which is familiar to them. So that market doesn't come to us also at the top end. But we are doing fine with what we are doing right now. See, the point is that a lot of people say that we are making profits. Yes, we do. But at the same time, we pay huge taxes to the government. We add local raw materials value addition. When somebody imports, we are allowing a foreign country to add value to their own raw materials. We pay a lot of salaries and look after our people. When you import, you are allowing a foreign national to be employed at a good. So these are pluses and minuses between having a local industry and imports. We have to take some decisions as to what we want to do. Now, when the COVID hit us and import restrictions were imposed, I have been asking so many very senior government officials plus politicians at the highest level, what do you want us to do? Because we knew that our material, our finished goods were going to be sold in a few months' time. From that day to date, we have not got any policy decision. Despite all that, we went and expanded our capacity. I said one factory we have spent 5 billion rupees. Bhatta factory, we increased our capacity by fine-tuning the processes. We doubled our product. We were doing about 15,000, we went about 26,000 without anything. All that what we did was to make sure that Sri Lanka gets close to this total local demand and the local production. So we have done that. But of course it's the government decision. So we did never ask for import restrictions. Import restrictions came to by the government because we had a certain issue relating to not having adequate dollars for the country, so national sake. So that is how I see it. But I neither say imports should be stopped, but if you decide to do that, you need to see to look after our mining community. It is not just the few companies we are talking about, the mining, the people who are selling materials to us, they are not very high income people, they sell materials to us, transport people, all this infrastructure that we have built for us, we are buying electricity, and we have been very conservative about the environment. On all three my factory roofs, I have solar right now. So we are a socially responsible company as well. So we are doing everything that is possible. We look after our staff. I think you can add something to that.
Yeah, actually, rather than producing low price substitute, our strategy is to produce, as MD said, the high quality and creative product. And as well, while producing these high quality products, we actually try to improve our productivity, improve our productivity by practicing the best manufacturing systems and reducing wastage. That is how we actually control the cost. Otherwise, go for a low cost cheaper products is actually not our strategy.
I think fair competition is quite good for us as well. Now, if you take India, India has anti-dumping regulations against China. We don't have any anti-dumping regulations against any country. We passed the anti-dumping regulations, the cabinet approved, parliament approved, probably about 7-8 years ago, and we have not done anything on that. A private company is not in a position to do that. It has to be spearheaded by the government. So these are things that I think can look after the government, by the government, the local industry. I am not talking about the tiles and Bhatta, but talking overall about all local manufacturing companies.
Thank you. I think this discussion was a very realistic, practical one. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to pay our gratitude on behalf of the Industrial Development Board. I would like to pay our gratitude for participating in this session, sir. So, thank you very much for Mr. Aravinda Perera, Managing Director, Royal Ceramic Lanka PLC, as well Mr. Kumudu Keerthirathna, Deputy General Manager, Royal Ceramic Lanka PLC. Thank you very much, sir. So, for a little moment, I would like to pay our gratitude to all the viewers who joined with us. Till the next chapter to be explored. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Its first tile manufacturing facility was established at Ahaliaguda in the year 1991. Considered to be the leading manufacturer of fully vitrified porcelain tiles in Sri Lanka, it has a production capacity of 100,000 square meters using technology, 358 employees. The main production sizes are 120 by 60, 90 by 30, 60 by 60, 60 by 30, 40 by 40, and 30 by 30. Feldspar, ball clay, silica, kaolin, quartz, and dolomite are used as raw materials in the production of tiles. Pre-processing of raw material. Homogenizing of different lots of feldspar to minimize firing difficulties. Ball clay mixing of different colors for the purpose of achieving equal properties. Homogenizing of different properties of kaolin to minimize firing difficulties. Washing of silica sand to remove impurities and mica, which enhances the whitening. Large lumps of hard incoming materials are broken into 6 inches square. Crushing of hard raw material into small sizes to improve grinding efficiency in ball mills. Crushed feldspar is not purchased separately in order to maintain quality standards. Processing. Ball mills are loaded as per the charge sheet given by the laboratory. Pre-processed material is weighed as per the milling standard. Ball mills are unloaded once the quality parameters are met. It is compulsory to wash the ball mills every time the color is changed. Slip mixing and iron removing is the unique feature of the production process which enhances the color matching and elimination of contamination by iron particles. Condensed slip operation is introduced to minimize the waste of expensive color pigments and time consumed to wash the ball mills. Spray drying is the process of converting slip and the syrup into powder form. Iron particles are further removed at this stage. Intensive cleaning of the spray dryers are mandatory before the next change of the color code. This is done to eliminate the powder contamination. powder mixing process is carried out as per the lab instruction. This is to be done perfectly to have an even distribution in the powder. Different glazes are produced as per the lab specifications. These glazes are stored separately. The main purpose in applying the glaze is to have surface protection and the shining of the tiles. In addition, inks are prepared by using stain chemicals to create colorful surfaces in tiles. Formation of tiles are done through modern presses. Two categories of tiles are produced, namely single layer and double layer. In double layer, there are four types, namely skin tech, dual tech, marble tech, and stone tech. Double layer are cost effective than single layer. Green tiles are sent through vertical dryer in order to reduce the moisture content to have strength. This helps to reduce green damage and perfect glaze application. Printing on tiles are done by rotocolor and digital printing machines. Green tiles are fed into the kiln for firing. This is done at 1200 degrees Celsius to maintain the properties of the porcelain tile. Brushing of fired tile gives smooth surface for matte finish tiles. Some fired tiles are fully polished and rectified, and then wax is applied before packing. Other fired tiles are squared and packed. Non-squared tiles are mostly produced in small sizes. Modern machinery is used to sort and pack finished tiles. Laboratory tests. Rigorous tests are conducted at the laboratory in order to ensure quality conforming to international and local standards. In addition, continuous research and development activities are carried out to develop new products as per the market requirement. Absorption. MOR. Hardness. PEI. Abrasion. Slipperiness. LAB values are some of the tests conducted at the laboratory. Finished tile pallets are stored in vertical racks before they are dispatched to warehouses or customers. Wooden pallets are chemically treated to ensure durability.